Hey, what's up everyone? Mark Price here, devslopes.com, and we're briefly going to talk about the issue that we saw in the last video that had to do with the weird hash value in the URL. So if I pull up in my page here from last time, you can see we've got this strange thing here. So it says page 2 !_k equals so92fk, and that's really strange, right? Does that seem like something professional you'd put in your browser? No. However, what's really interesting is a lot of people in the React community argue that this is fine, but I would never, ever want this in my browser unless I was actually like going to a lead page where I needed to put information in there. It's just kind of tacky. So I want to get rid of it. You don't have to, but we can, and that's what we're going to do. And I just want to read to you the caveats of using hash history. This is on racked.org/history/stable/hash history caveats.html. And here's the deal on the latest version of React Router that was introduced into the URLs, and here's the reason why. Using window location.hash is a common trick that is used to mimic the HTML5 history API in older browsers. It works for most use cases and provides good compatibility across a wide range of browsers. Okay, however, in order to preserve state across browser sessions, we need a place to store some state. So it's storing the state of your application there, and some older browsers are going to need something like that to be supported. Well, if you want to support older browsers and want to have the best support possible, leave it in, and it will stay as it is. You can change the actual letter K into the word key so it's not so confusing to users that are on it. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn it off altogether. It's not recommended per their documentation because maybe some older browsers may not be properly supported, but I want to get rid of it because it looks dang ugly. So all we're going to do is go back to our code here, and here in the routes.jsx, what we're going to do is we're going to import a package. Remember how we installed history when we set up the project? Well, history is running behind the scenes, and it is a dependency of React Router. And so it's working behind the scenes, but we're actually going to work with it a little bit explicitly here. So I'm going to bring it in. I'll bring it in right here. And I'm going to say var create history. This is a variable name equals require. It's history/lib/create hash history. Spelling's important here. Camel casing. Okay. So history is the history npm package, and we're going into the lib, and we're actually grabbing out a sub package here called create hash history. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to set that configuration setting to get rid of that weird hash. All right. So let's say var history. So let's create a history object equals new create history. Okay, this is just JavaScript, and I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes with the create hash history package here. Okay, but obviously this is some type of function object here, and you pass in as the first parameter this object with options. And so we're going to set query key. Try and say query key 5 times fast. Go. Query key to false. Okay, we're going to shut off that query key, that hash, so our page doesn't have to deal with it. And then one more thing we're going to do is right here in router, we're going to say history equals history. So we're passing in this history object right here. Okay? No big deal. And if all worked well, if I go to my page, let's pull it up here, assuming my server's still running, let's delete everything. Just go to the home page. And I think I need to refresh my server. So what I'm going to do is first I'll make sure there's no errors to Command-Alt-J. Okay, no errors in the console, that's good. So I'm going to kill my HTTP server here, and I'm going to go ahead and reload it. All right, now I'm going to delete this stuff, refresh my page, delete this stuff, and it is now gone. Okay, so it's gone now, as you can see. So I can go to page 1, and it's gone. I can go to page 2, and it's gone. And the reason why you might consider supporting it is for older browsers, if you press the back button, obviously it's working here. It's going back and forth just fine. It's keeping a history of going back and forth. But supposedly, and I don't have experience with this, I have never come across this problem, but supposedly without having a unique hash like with that option on, we might not get the exact same results here where it's properly going back and forth. So that's it though. Turned it off. Very cool. Notice how also with routes that, we use the pound sign here. Pound sign, right? Yeah, that's a pound sign. The this weird looking icon here, and we use that in between slashes right after the route here, and here's the reason why. Okay, so notice here, if we go to our elements, we have this page right here. So if I go back to the home page, notice how this didn't blink, it didn't do anything, right? And you're like, what do you mean blink? Well, watch this. If I refresh the page by pressing Command R or by clicking the circle, see how the whole page refreshed? So the whole DOM was destroyed and reloaded, and it loaded a new page. But if I just type in the routes here, like page 1, okay, it's not being destroyed, which is awesome. That's the beauty of single page applications like and the tools like React Router or Angular routing or whatever framework you're using, is it keeps it all on the same application, same page, so it's super, super fast. Remember back in the old days, you're like, oh, I don't want to click this next page because it's going to take me and it's going to load over and over and over. Or you ever see those those clickbait like websites where it's like, oh my gosh, you want to see what she did? And then, you're like, I don't want to click, but I have to. And then you got to click through like 50 pages. Like, that's terrible. This gets rid of all that. Just keep it all on one page. So that's what this hash sign's for. It's showing that it's a local route, a route that's on your front end on your client side. It's not from the server. Okay, if I was to do something like this /page2, that would need to be directed from my server. I would need to render that somehow. And obviously, it's not working here because it doesn't exist. But with the /, there it is. So important things to know. The routing is happening here locally on your front end, not from your server. And usually what you do is your server will deliver some type of index file or your first file. And then after that, your front end manages the routing locally for you, which is, I think, pretty darn cool. So that's it. Mark Price here, devslopes.com, moving forward. And remember, to get your free live help, go to devslopes.com and click on chat room. I'm there all the time, as well as a huge community of other students.